I'm now going to introduce the key theories of language learning along with their critique. The first and the foremost is behaviorist theories, which also include the contrastive analysis hypothesis. All behavior is a response to stimuli. Language is learned just as another behavior through imitation, practice, and drill. Contrastive analysis of hypothesis, which is also called CA, is the comparison of the linguistic system of two or more languages, and it is based on the main difficulties in learning a new language that caused by interference from the first language. So it is not only the understanding of two different systems, but also to analyze their differences and the difficulties which a learner faces in the acquiring of second language due to the interference of the first language. Behaviorism is the key theoretical foundation of contrastive analysis that all knowledge, whether it's L1, which is first language, or second language, they all come from experiences. This theory has been criticized by Chomsky. He says that this theory does not explain the creativity of children in generating language. That is, how can kids overcome grammatical errors without their parents' correction? The second important theory is the universal grammar theory, a mentalist viewpoint related to nativism and cognitive theory that all children are born with language acquisition device, that there is an innate faculty present in the mind of a child at birth. Children are innately programmed to learn language, that all human brain contains language universals that direct language acquisition. All linguistic features of a language are there in the mind, and they are responsible for the language acquisition. Universal grammar theory believes that it can be tested. The output of the linguistic data can be tested. Each language has parameter setting, which means that they have their own specific framework. Language learning depends on biological mechanism. This refers to brain and maturity of acquiring a language. And of course, children represents core grammar, and that is due to the fact that they are innately programmed. Like behaviorist theory, this theory also receives criticism that is based on first language learning, so it may not apply to second language acquisition, and the way adults and children learn is different. It does not consider social factors or individual differences that affect language learning. It is very complex, and motivations and attitudes towards the target language does not play any role in this theory. Third theory is Krauss's model theory, which refers to developing competence in second language acquisition. Acquisition is subconscious learning, and learning is a conscious act. A monitor hypothesis. Acquisition is responsible for all second language utterances and fluency. On the contrary, learning is the editor and monitor. So you see that acquisition is a process for acquiring, whereas monitor or filtering hypothesis says that learning filters the information when that information is passed on or is expressed. The input hypothesis says that speaking fluency emerges over time. It is through monitoring and editing of information that with the passage of time you develop fluency in speaking. Acquisition of language will happen when we are exposed to the language that is beyond our level. So since it's a process of acquiring, so you acquire the information which is beyond your level, not that you are born with. The critique of this theory is that there is a debate between the distinction of learning and acquisition. Krauss's claim cannot be tested. Munsell and Cart criticize the implication of this theory that language learning is distinct from other types of learning. There are not clear definitions for some of the terms implemented by Krauss, such as comprehensible input for monitoring and editing, and acquisition versus learning aspect. Krauss does not explain how effective monitoring or editing and does not take individual differences in account. The behaviorist theories, universal grammar theory, and Krauss's monitor theory focus on behavior, cognition, and monitoring of language learning.